Hi everyone, it's Deborah from Embody Nature. And if we haven't met before, I'm really glad to have you here. I am a trauma and emotional regulation coach, and I support people gently back to break those patterns that keep pulling us out of calm and away from the connection that we're really wanting. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I truly love sharing this space with you. And so before we dive in, I want to just take a moment, say hi to me, drop a comment, send some love, and it really helps me feel that you're here with me. Because this isn't just a live, this is a space where we get to slow down, where we get honest and we start understanding what's really happening underneath our reactions. And I guess that's where everything begins to shift. So I want to start with a question. Have you ever had a moment where you hear yourself? And it could be your tone, it could be your reaction, the way you respond, and you think, this is not who I want to be. Maybe you imagine yourself being that calm parent. So maybe it's with your kids. Maybe it's in your relationship where you just say something really sharp or you know that you've just been really reactive. Maybe it's the way you speak to yourself when things get hard. And let's be honest here, sometimes the way we talk to ourselves can be the harshest of them all. And it's really important to be conscious of how we're actually, showing up in our own mind and in our own head with our own words. I guess underneath that, when we're showing up in ways that we don't want to, there's often this quiet thought of, why do I keep doing this? And even when I know better, I know this isn't how I want to be, and I know all the things I need to do right now, but I'm not doing them. So if that's you, just know you're not alone, and there's nothing wrong with you. I know so many people I've chatted to in this community are find this a real challenge. And I hear it all the time in different posts and different forums, different chats around, calm parenting, around relationships, around this is where I want to be, but I'm showing up here. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be, sort of the distance between the two is what creates a lot of stress in your life. The closer we are between our sort of ideal version of ourselves and where we actually are, the easier life just gets, the more we really show up and feel this really strong love and confidence and connection with ourselves, and we feel like we're living our really authentic life when we can kind of match these two things up. But I just want to tell you there's something deeper going on here. And this is, what I see all the time with my clients and even in my own life, in my own journey. So I recognize you. I see you because I sit here sometimes too. And I have sat here really deeply in the past. So I guess, this is why I'm here. A few years ago, I sort of hit a point where my whole body was maybe shouting, maybe whispering, but something had to change. I'd gone through a shattering divorce. I'd lost my family business, and honestly, I did not know what way was up anymore. It sort of cracked open everything. All my relationships, I was starting to unravel in every way. It wasn't just, my marriage. It was, having to work out relationship with my dad, with my brother, with, all the people in my world. I was just like stopping and reevaluating everything, which has turned into the biggest blessing in my life. But at the time, it felt like Shitsville. It was hard when there was no solid ground at all to stand on. And I guess there was so much grief, there was loss, there was identity. And underneath that all were patterns I didn't even realize were running my life. And even 5 years later, I'm just figuring out some of these now. So I was triggered constantly. I was exhausted. I was doubting myself and quietly battling my old childhood wounds that kept showing up in my reactions, challenging me around, feeling that sense of abandonment, challenging me in, not feeling good enough. And all these things just came to the surface. And the hardest part is I was aggressively applying self-care. I was reading all the books. I was doing all the things. I went out and bought a paddleboard. I bought running shoes. I was looking after myself. I was eating well. I was connecting with friends. I was, getting help from a psychologist, and I was doing all the stuff on the surface that really helped a lot. And I would never say don't do all those things, because those things saved me. Those surface level things really helped. But it was only when I understood what was going on deep down underneath that it really made an impact for me. So I guess in the moments that mattered the most, all the self-care didn't quite get me where I needed to get to. And I guess I kept on being stuck in these loops that I couldn't actually think my way out of. And this is my thing, just overthinking. I don't know if any of you can relate. Hands up if you can relate to overthinking, because I was working hard, I was thinking hard, I was reflecting hard, and it was getting exhausting. And I guess this is where I started to see the gap, because the old ways tells us to just regulate, just breathe, just think differently, and just be more patient. And these things are all amazing. But here's the truth. If your nervous system is activated, if your subconscious patterns are driving the reaction, you just can't logic your way out of it. It's like trying to calm a storm by telling it, stop. That never is going to work, right? So what I realized is the reactions weren't the problem. They were actually the result of something deeper. So they were stored emotional imprints really deep down in me, these subconscious patterns, these old protective responses that once made sense but no longer served you. And it was things like, somebody not connecting with me in the way I wanted. And all of a sudden I'd feel like I'm not good enough for this person. Never stopping to think, well, why aren't I just good enough in my own world? Like now I just feel like I know I'm good enough in my own world. And if people don't appreciate that, then maybe they're just not my people, or this isn't the season for us to be connecting. Whereas in the past, I'd take it more personally and I'd feel like, what is wrong with me? And my other wounds around abandonment, I would feel like, no one's here for me. I'm in the world all on my own. But what I can see is that I would actually push people away before they could get close enough for me to then be rejected, essentially. So these are little patterns that I'd learnt through my childhood years and through my own developmental trauma, just to keep me safe. And they did keep me safe once, but now I was finding at this age and stage of my life, it was keeping me stuck in these really negative cycles where it was impacting on my relationships and how I showed up for in my intimate relationships, also in my friendships, and with my kids. And I guess just the way that I saw myself, that was probably the deepest thing, the relationship with myself. So what actually works? So I guess everything changed when I stopped trying to fix the behavior, because when we look at the iceberg of behaviors always see above the waterline. But what is below it is unmet needs and feelings, these really intense feelings that were kind of, running my show. So when I stopped actually trying to fix the behavior and started working on the stuff that was underneath, the subconscious, the nervous system, and those emotional patterns that were stored in my body, not forcing change, but creating that safety for change. And that is where calm comes from, not from control, not from trying harder, but from your system no longer needing to react in the same way. And that's where calm, presence, and emotional mastery actually begins. And so for me, I was finding that I could see the patterns. Once I was aware that the patterns were there, it became really clear for me to almost say, oh wow, I'm feeling rejected in this moment, and this rejection is bumping up against you know, my world, and it's making me feel overwhelmed right now. And this overwhelm would trigger this massive sense of anxiety in me. But if I could know and understand what was going on in the first instance, this was helping me to move through it better. But when I started sitting in the therapeutic work that could actually go right back to the source of that rejection and that abandonment wound, then everything changed for me. And I guess this is why I'm so passionate about the work that I do, because I have worked with so many people now who experience, you know, we all experience different things, but it seems to be that same theme, is the patterns and our own childhood trauma that just keeps on showing up in our current relationships. And so we might respond in a way in today's relationship that's actually more about how we were as a child. And I see all the time when the people I work with get back to those core understandings of what is going on for them, that something opens up for them, something changes, and they're no longer having these big emotions ruling their lives. They can feel like we work through, when we work together, we work through these big emotions together. And that allows people to feel, you know, both I'm releasing stuff at the core, but also we're going through and people are learning those skills and tools for themselves to be able to ride the waves, to face the storms, to get through these big emotions that in childhood were completely disabling, and we put up all these walls around us to protect us. But as adults, we can actually, you know, feel safe enough to be able to sit with these emotions one at a time and work our way through it. So this is why I do the work that I do, because I have spent well over 10 years. I have worked in foster care. I have worked in therapeutic spaces. I have sat deeply understanding trauma. So I have spent over 10 years and probably well over $30,000 in my own study to understand this. Hi, Tali. How you going, love? And hi, Olivia. Nice to have you guys here. Welcome. So I've spent over 10 years and over 30 grand trying to piece this all together for myself. So I have learned and sat deeply, and I teach around neuroscience and understanding trauma. Oh, thanks for the love. And working with these subconscious patterns. And I've done a lot of teaching with parents in that space. And I guess what I saw again and again was that people weren't lacking effort in this space. They weren't lacking awareness. They were lacking the right pathway to get to the other side of this, and a way that actually shifts the patterns without the shame, without overwhelm, and without spending years stuck in the same loops. Because my friends, we have sat here freaking long enough. Let me tell you, I reckon all of you out there, put your hands up or send me a comment if you've been stuck here too long, because I am with you and I can't even describe the feeling of being able to get to the other side of this. So I've created a process that brings this all together in a way that feels safe, grounded, deep, and it's actually effective. And it's not just talking about change, but it's creating it. So if you're listening to this and something in you is quietly saying, this is me, I don't like how I show up when I'm overwhelmed, I want connection, but I keep slipping into the same cycles, I know something deeper is going on here, then I want you to know that there is a way to change this and you don't have to figure it out alone. So at the moment, I'm actually opening up a space. I've got a space for a small number of people who are ready right now for that deeper shift. So put your hands up or message me if you're ready for that deeper shift. So not that surface level change, the stuff that we've tried before and we try and then it doesn't seem to shift things, in a big way. But we're looking for that real lasting transformation. So if that feels like you, just comment yes or send me a DM. We'll have a simple conversation. See if it feels aligned. And if it is, I'll share these next steps with you. So no pressure, just connection. So I just want you to know, so I've had so many clients already who, you know, could probably put their hand up and say, yeah, this stuff actually works. And we've had some really big moments, even by our second sessions, where things have really shifted and people have, it's almost like finding the key to unlock what is going on for people, because you guys are the clever ones. You have so much knowledge and wisdom and strength, and you're sitting in this deeply, but you just haven't maybe found the right key yet. So, thanks for the more love there. Thank you. It's so true. Like, I think just finding the right tools can make the job so much easier. So, yeah, just to close, I just want you to know your reactions aren't random. But they're also not who you are. They're patterns, and they can be understood, and they can also be gently changed. And when that happens, everything shifts. Your relationships, your parenting, and more importantly, the way that you feel inside. And I know this, like, I can't even describe where I've come in the last particular year and a half. This feeling of who I am on the inside, and this sense of peace, this sense of certainty, and this sense of just knowing that I'm here for a purpose and to, you know, work with others and serve others in this space. So thank you for everyone who has trusted me already and connected and allowed me to help them in their healing journey. It just lights me up and brings me so much joy to know that we can work together in this space. So, and if you're interested, feel free, like, send me a message, say hi, and we can have a chat and see where we can go. So I'm really glad that you're here with me today. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we'll chat to you soon. See ya. Bye.